All right. I think it says I'm live. I better go check here really quick. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's look at some verses. You saw the title. Hopefully my microphone's working. The title says that the Bible says that space is hell, because it clearly does. And we'll just point out some verses here, and we'll look at what Tartarus is, and what is it, Gehenna or something maybe. Let's start in Jude, verse 6. Sorry. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So this is talking about the angels that came down and took wives, human wives, and created the giants. But so they left their own habitation, which was in heaven. He has them reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So this we're going to take, first of all, we're going to take it literally, under darkness. So the word that we're going to be doing a little bit of looking at is darkness. And I'm going to probably go to the watch page every once in a while. Hi, Tammy. Just to say hi and make sure. I hope you guys can hear me good. I think you can. But okay, so that's let's look at this here. Okay, so I went, and the word we're looking at is 2217. In Strong's, it's Zophos, I guess. And it's darkness. That's the word that we're looking at. And when we go down to Strong's exhaustive concordance, it says blackness, darkness, mist. Blackness, darkness, mist. So we are talking about a literal thing, and it can have other meanings too, like deep gloom. That obviously is more of a, it's a different type of use for the word. But this one says black, darkness, gloom. So there's almost two meanings there. So Jude verse 13 says, okay, so remember what I'm trying to point out is that space, as we have been understanding it, where they fly rocket ships and they pretend that there's a reason to go there, that place is what I'm talking about. That is hell. So just because it's above the earth doesn't mean it's not hell, because what it is it's the deepest part of heaven. It's celestial. So raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Okay, look at this. Wandering stars. Stars are in heaven, guys. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Okay, so let's take it literally and just talk about where is their darkness? Well, it's wherever there isn't light, right? And there is a place that we were taught is a universe. It's like a never-ending space, and they call it space, or whatever. So, and that's where the wandering stars are. Now I'm going to back this up with some Enoch. I'm just going to read something in Enoch, and you got to listen to the actual words that are said. When it says stars of heaven, that's talking about stars of heaven. It's not, it's a real, those are real words. And I get kind of frustrated a little bit when people ignore these words. But wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. We'll go to Enoch in a little bit. I'm just going to work through these tabs here. I'm going to check on just to see. Hi, Elizabeth. Okay, good. So let's go to 2 Peter 2 verse 4. And actually, I'm going to go back a page and see if, okay, there. We can just read it first in the King James Version is what I like. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, so it's talking about the same angels that left their own habitation here in Jude, the angels which kept not their first estate. Okay, 2 Peter, it's talking about the same angels. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell. So we know right now, we know that they were cast down to hell, and that's going to be important. And delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. So then we'll go forward and we're going to look at the Greek words here. I'll just read it how it's written here. If for, well, I won't. It won't make any sense. Okay, but it's having sinned not spared, but in chains of gloomy darkness. Okay, so the darkness, again, that's going to be the same. I don't know if that's the same word, Zopho or whatever. Was that the same number? Yeah, Zophos. Okay, so it's talking about murkiness, gloom, deep gloom. Strong's exhaustive concordance called it blackness, darkness, mist. Okay, so the word we really want to look at, though, is this one. Having cast them down to Tartarus. That's the one that says in 2 Peter, it says, cast them down to hell. To cast into hell. I thrust down to Tartarus or Gehenna. To cast into hell. Cast into hell. To incarcerate in eternal torment. Cast down to hell. So Enoch's going to verify all these things that, because to be honest, all these writings in the Bible, they're all coming from Enoch, the book of Enoch. All these things about Tartarus and any of this is coming from the book of Enoch because it has all of this stuff in it. But we're going to keep going here. I just opened some links and I just wanted to, okay, that's the, okay, so what we've established here is, well, here it says the abode of the damned, to incarcerate in eternal torment. Okay, I think we already looked at that. Let's see here. What do we got? Okay, this is 2 Peter 2, verse 17. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. So hell is the darkness where they are reserved under chains or under chains of darkness. Okay, so let's see here. I don't know why I have Isaiah. This is talking about, I think, talking about us. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. So that's interesting. And the mean shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Mark those words. You'll see that. You'll see that happen. Okay, let's go to the book of Enoch, chapter 18. I'm just going to read here. This Enoch's just explaining the things he's seeing, he's going to get some explanations from Uriel. We'll start in verse 9. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed. So I'm going to stop and make sure that people are understanding the things that this is saying. Okay. He's looking at a region at the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed. So we're talking about like the firmament. We're talking about where heaven ends and earth starts, or where earth ends and heaven starts. Okay, the end of the earth, the ends of the earth, or whatever. And I saw a deep abyss. Okay, so he's up where the firmament is, and he sees a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire. And among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. So he sees a deep abyss. But he is where the heavens were completed and at the end of the great earth. Okay. And he sees a deep abyss there. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place. I'm gonna try to do this so you guys know where I'm at. Verse 12. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. Okay, I want people to take these things literally. Like, Enoch really is describing something that we need to understand, and that is why it's written in this book. That's why it's on this page, and that's why this video is being made, and that's why your ears are hearing it, because we need to know it. And it's not me that's giving the information, that it's the word of God. So let's check this out. A waste and horrible place. Okay, so this right here is going to prove that this place is hell. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains, and to me when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven." So to be literal and logical, where are stars and the host of heaven? Where is that? That's up in the sky. Okay. Now listen, this explains the torment that they're going through already, and this explains that those stars, which we call planets, the wandering ones that don't have a polar center, and the stars which roll over the fire, so they're already being tormented, are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. This is talking about actual things in nature that we can see with our eyes at night through telescopes, or just with your eyes. You can look up at the stars. You can tell which ones are planets and which ones are not. And this has been, abundantly clear for probably as long as man has walked the earth. I mean, we all look up at the stars. Okay, so God was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated for 10,000 years. Okay, now I know that these stars are not. People are probably going to get a little confused if I don't explain this. These stars were Enoch's only talking about 7 stars. It says right here, I saw there's 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And so he was inquiring regarding them. Well, Uriel, the angel that gives him this information that says this has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. Look what Uriel says in the next chapter. He says, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. And here they'll stand till the great day of judgment." Okay, you guys, this right here, the fallen angels that were buried in the earth for 70 generations or whatever, they were led off to the abyss of fire. They were led off to hell. Okay. And Enoch is clearly telling us right here that that place is up where there's 7 stars that disobeyed God's commanded or ordained order. Okay. Look up and apply these things to the night sky, we do have 7 stars in the night sky that do not go in any kind of order in that all the other stars go. All the other stars do the same thing. And then there's these 7 that do their own thing. Okay, so that I want to be very literal when we're talking about darkness. Oh, that was one thing I was going to do that I didn't. We're just going to go to Bible Hub really quick, or Bible Gateway really quick, and we're going to type in darkness. There's a couple verses I want to, let's see, Psalm 18:9, I think. Yeah. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Oh yeah, look at this. Psalm 18:11. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. Skies. Okay. Let's see here. And see, there can be darkness used in other ways too. I'm not trying to say that it can't. But look at this. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Darkness in the deeps. Okay, so if we were talking about the bottom of the ocean, we could call that darkness, right? Because literally it's darkness. There's no light that can get down to the bottom of the ocean or whatever. Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. So why are people going to go to space? Well, because Satan has won your hearts. He's won your heart and through deception. And let's see here. Thou makest darkness. Okay, so there's one thing here that we all need to understand that people usually aren't understanding. Actually, I'm going to go to the chat just to make sure everybody's... Is space hell? Yes. Jay, yes, it is. My chat's getting caught up, it looks like. As the heart of the earth and lower part of the earth. Give me the verses, Jay. It's not underneath us. Maybe part of it's underneath us or something that I'm not understanding, but we would have many questions. Mud flood from Tartaria. Yeah, I think that action in myself, but let's see here. Ephesians, let's talk about this. Okay, everyone's always saying this verse and thinking they're putting on the armor of God, right? Well, make sure you read it right. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. I'm going to take a second to rebuke all the ministries on YouTube, just about everyone that says anything about these things. They are telling everyone that our struggle is against flesh and blood. That's what they're telling everyone. They're saying it's the Pope or it's the Vatican or it's there's Hollywood and these types of things. That has nothing to do with darkness, guys. That is a result of the darkness that we're involved in. But what I'm saying is you're not using this verse right. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Humans are flesh and blood, guys. But against principalities, against powers, and what does this say? Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Well, who is that? That's the fallen angels. Because remember 2 Peter 2 verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Okay, let's see. I think that was all the things I was trying to get through. I'm going to go back to the chat here for a second and see. Okay. Maybe Jay took off or something, but it's good to have you people here. Oh, here, let me put this up. This is something I wanted to just read to you guys that I wrote out really quick. I'm not the one revealing these things. They're written in the Word of God. When you get frustrated by these things, or frustrated by the idea that you've been deceived about something, don't involve me and examine your own heart and what you believe. I'm just a messenger of these things. They are just as much of a surprise to me as they are to you. So I have to put up with the frustration of knowing that I've been deceived when I learn about them, and at the same time put up with all the false accusations and ridicule and junk that people send to me. And I don't care about it, but it's what I'm saying is not, I'm not saying this for my benefit or my, what I deal with. I'm saying this for you because, again, I'm not the one that's revealing. If it's written in the Word of God, and this is just, what did we go through, like 5-6 places in the Bible where it talked about this pretty clearly, that the Bible is full of this, and it always to me, what I'm finding out is it's all coming from the Book of Enoch. Like, all of it is coming from the Book of Enoch and other books, but really the Book of Enoch has touched on the nature of everything a lot. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the video there, but I'll probably come in and say hi to everyone, and thank you guys all for. All right, Tammy Farrell and Elizabeth Collier and Dajor Vision. I don't know if I'm saying that right. On the Path to Truth. Khabib. I'll leave the last name off of there. And Jay stopped by. Adrian, how you doing? Well, thank you guys for hanging out. And Matthew Baxter too. Okay, we got numbers. Sweet. I'm gonna look this up really quick. Thank you, Jay. Let's see what it says. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses and all the men unto Korah and their goods. They went down alive to the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished among the congregation. Let's look at Bible Hub. Whoops. What am I doing? Okay, what was that again? That was Numbers. Wow. What did I do? Oh, it was over here. Okay. Numbers 16. And we'll do the Bible Hub. All right. I just want to look in and see what the Hebrew words say, because it looks, clearly you have some kind of point. And I wonder if it's that we're talking about, like, the use of words, and open the earth. I mean, that can't be much more clear than that, really, right? Its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, all the men that are with Korah and with all their goods. So went down they all, those with them alive, into the pit. Let's see what that's, because this should, Sheol, okay. Underworld, a place which people descend at death. This is talking about Sheol. This is where actually, let's look at 2nd Esdras chapter 7. I think it's, oops. Yeah, this will help explain that a lot. Let's see. We'll just go to Bible Gateway. Okay. Let's just read this. When I finished speaking these words, the angel who had been sent to me on the previous nights was sent to me again. He said to me, Rise, Ezra, and hear the words I have come to speak to you. I said, Speak, my lord. He said to me, A certain sea is set in a spacious place so that it can be deep and vast, but its entrance is set in a narrow place like a river. If anyone wants to go to the sea to see it or to rule over it, how can he come into the broad place unless he passes through the narrow? Another instance, a city is built and positioned on a broad plain, full of all good things. Its entrance, however, is narrow and located on a precipice so that there is fire on the right and deep water on the left. There's a single path located between them, between the fire and the water, and the path has only room for human footprints. If that city is given to someone as an inheritance, if the heir doesn't pass through the danger, how will the heir receive the inheritance? I said, Indeed, Lord. He said to me, So also is Israel's portion. I indeed made the world on account of them. When Adam transgressed my ordinances, what had been made was judged, and the entrances of this world were made narrow, sorrowful, and troublesome. They are few and bad, full of dangers, and involving people in great hardships. The entrances of the greater world, however, are spacious and secure, and they generate the fruit of immortality. If those who live don't enter these narrow, empty spaces, they can't receive the things that are in store. Therefore, why are you disturbed being corruptible? And why are you upset being mortal? Why haven't you focused your mind on what is still to come rather than what is present? I answered, Supreme Lord, you ordained in your law that the just will inherit these things, but the impious will perish. The just then can tolerate the narrow, hoping for the spacious, but those who have acted impiously endure the narrow and won't see the spacious. He said to me, You aren't a higher judge than God, nor more intelligent than the Most High. Better that many of those now alive should perish than that the law of God, which is laid out before them, be disregarded. God commanded those who come into the world after they came what they needed to do to live and what laws they should observe to avoid punishment. But they weren't persuaded and opposed him. They filled their heads with worthless thoughts and they invented excuses for their sins. They emphatically denied the Most High exists and they didn't learn his ways. They despised his law and rejected his covenants. They weren't faithful to his statutes and didn't perform the works he's prescribed. Just like those angels, remember I have to stop there. Remember the angels that went their own way? They transgressed the order, their ordained order, like literally in the sky. Those, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. They weren't faithful to his statutes and didn't perform the works he prescribed. Therefore, Ezra, empty things are for the empty and full things are for the full. Okay, now I think maybe I'll skip a little bit. I thought this was going to be a little bit shorter of this is a long chapter, isn't it? I'm trying to get to the point here of Sheol or whatever. Wow, this is a long chapter. Good thing I didn't just keep reading because that would have been a long time. Okay, here we go. Now a word about death when the final sentence goes forth. Okay, maybe I'm in the wrong chapter. Enoch is shown that place too. And maybe we can look there. I'm just skimming this really quick because I don't think that this was the chapter I was looking for. Sorry, guys. Let's go to Enoch really quick, and I don't know which chapter that would be in. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh boy, maybe I'll do a search. He's talking about it. Maybe it's in. It could even be chapter 17, maybe. Yeah, here we go. Enoch's journeys through earth and Sheol. Okay. It might be this, but it might be a chapter before or something. In the uttermost depths. And I saw the places of the luminaries and the treasuries of the stars and of the thunder in the uttermost depths, where were a fiery bow and arrows and their quiver, and a fiery sword and all the lightnings. Oh, look at this. They brought me to a place of darkness and to a mountain, the point, of whose summit reached to heaven. Interesting. Let's go back a chapter. Previous. There's a place where he sees smooth, I think he calls them smooth places or something like that. And it could even be, let's just see. Okay, this is where it's talking about the dwelling of the spirit, the heavenly spirits, and then the evil spirits that were born on the earth. Is it? I can't even remember where that is. And I don't know if I did a search, if I'd be able to find it. Okay, I don't think it's back here. I'll have to find that. But yeah, I think Sheol is not hell. Or Tartarus. They're different. And I'm specifically talking about, I'm going back to the chat here, sorry. Let's see here. Oh, Jay said something. I missed it. Hey, Sea Level. Good to have you here. Yeah, Lost Book of Eden. Is that the one of Adam and Eve, the first book of Adam and Eve? Because that one's really interesting. Very interesting book. I'm just yeah. So I think you're talking about Sheol there in Numbers, and that would be where the spirits of everyone, righteous and sinners, all wait for judgment or wait for the resurrection, I guess. So let's see here. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out of here. Thank you for hanging out, and if I find more verses on that make it a little clearer, I will try to make a video or something. So you guys have a good day.